And that's the sound of the start of another missile for the masses. This is the Chaplain's Assistance Motor Pod, and I am your host, Gary, and with me is...
Casey from Podcast from the Pit.
And this is the podcast where we talk about news in the G.I. Joe and military and adventure action figure sphere, G.I. Joe toys, whether they are vehicles, play sets, or even trailers, and also touch upon G.I. Joe and G.I. Joe related comic books. And Casey, how you doing this week?
I'm doing really well. How are you?
Hanging in there. Getting ready for Joe Fest coming up in just 3 weeks.
Yeah.
About.
I'm excited.
And, I'm pretty much almost all prepared. It's more about what do I put in my my bags to bring down, and then how much room do I leave to bring back?
That's the big question right there.
Yeah, because I'm flying and you're driving. Am I correct?
Yes.
So both long hauls to get to Georgia for both of us. So I'm really excited and really enjoying everything going on. We got that Kickstarter from Skybound.
Are you in on that?
I'm having a crisis because I don't know what level I want to pledge at.
Right.
Also, I know the comic book stores are getting the soft covers, and allegedly that's what I heard. But a friend of mine had a talk with a comic shop owner, and it didn't seem too positive, or he wasn't sure. So I'm going to triple check my info, but I believed they were getting, the soft covers at $50 a volume versus the hard covers at $75 a volume, plus shipping. So, that's upwards of like $150 savings,
Yes.
more or less. In this economy, every dollar counts. I'm going to probably use it as, a reader copy rather than going through my individual issues.
Mm-hmm.
Because I used to have them on Comixology. Comixology went south. It is now part of Kindle. And I don't know how that affected all my downloads, because when all the trades were $2, I bought all of the trades. So it was like 20 trades. So it took from G.I. Joe 1 to 200, and it was like only $40.
Yeah, that's
so
a
I was
good
like,
deal.
Yeah, but I don't know if I have access to it anymore. Yeah, you got all the different levels, and I saw the digital levels like $120, and I'm just hemming and hawing right now. I really want to support Skybound. I really just want a reading copy of the G.I. Joe series, because I do tend to reread it once or twice a year. Because if it's all like in a nice, easy to do format without taking the book out of bags and boards, I'm much more apt to reread it over and over again.
Yeah, I reread Walking Dead all the time just because I have them all in trades. So easy to do. And I went and got a bunch of the G.I. Joe trade paperbacks from IDW, but I'm missing a couple of the expensive ones.
Yeah, when they were coming out, I was like, nah, I don't need them. Yeah, famous last words. Because if I had the trades, I wouldn't go after the compendium. Yeah, to be honest. So that's going on, but we're really here. It is Yojo June. So during the month of June, I only cover G.I. Joe vehicles, playsets, or trailers. I don't touch anything of Cobra, Destro, or the Dreadnoks, or the Lunatics, Aliens. Because July is usually Cobra Convergence month. So obviously July is the antithesis of Yojo June. And it's after Memorial Day. And Memorial Day is, in the United States, the unofficial start of summer. And nothing says summer when, like, Yacht Rock and every summer I always try to feature a boat or two on the podcast. And Casey, what did you suggest to talk about for this missile?
The Devilfish.
Yep, 1986's Devilfish, most notable for being on the cover of G.I. Joe number 47 from Marvel Comics, and also its many appearances in the second season of the cartoon. And talking about the Devilfish, I always like to start with the box, how it's marketed to the parent or child on the shelf front of the era. And it's on the top of the box, on the front of the box, we have G.I. Joe in that 1986 3D logo, a real American hero, Devilfish, and in parentheses, weapons do not shoot. It is a beautiful Hector Garrido piece. We have the digital explosion background that was new for 86. And what we do is we have the orange Devilfish piloting to the reader's right, piloted by Beachhead with wetsuit, riding, I don't know, not quite shotgun, but riding on the side. It's launching off one of the missiles. It's sending out one of the torpedoes on the bottom of the boat. Both machine guns on the top are firing. And, in all of its splendor, a really good depiction of this vehicle. It's, I would dare say, larger than life on the box. And, what are you thinking, Casey, as you're looking at the box?
Well, I did not have the Devilfish as a child, but I mean, this box is amazing. The colors, the orange of the Devilfish just pops right off the box, and there's so much action to it. It's great. It's fantastic.
One thing I noticed on the box is the first thing is the missiles on the Devilfish on the box are side by side next to the pilot Beachhead. So on the toy, the missiles aren't there. The missiles are located more forward towards the bow of the boat. And the other thing is right behind the missiles is a unique feature. I'm actually surprised it made it onto the box art, is the foot peg right by the missile launch. So pretty cool little feature that you're putting, true to life, as they might say.
Yeah, and I didn't even notice that.
Yeah. Just for the listeners out there, Casey's looking online on 3D Joe's, and I purchased a collection about a month and a half ago, and I actually got a Devilfish box. So I'm actually really spoiled right now. And the other thing too I could say is that this Devilfish that I have came from Hill's department stores, and it was $4.97.
I got a lot of my Joes from Hill's department store when I was a kid.
Okay.
That was the spot.
That was the spot.
Yep.
So tell me a little bit about Hills, because I'm from the Northeast. I'm from Connecticut. We did not have a Hills. Do you know anything? Were they like a regional thing, or were they nationwide?
I thought they were nationwide. They're just like another Target, Walmart. Another store like that was called 3D. That's where I got my first Joe at. But that's out now. Hills are gone. Now we're just down to Myers and Target, Walmart.
Okay. Yeah, I don't have a Myers over by me either. So just interesting. That is one thing, I do like about when you have original packaging is sometimes the stickers, which can also tell a story of itself. The collection that I bought, the guy lives in Connecticut now, but he came from basically coal country, Pennsylvania. So I was actually fortunate to get this stuff and to get a little bit of the history of the collection. And so I'm turning the box over, and on the back of the box, we have another view looking at the right side of the Devilfish. I can never remember if it's port or starboard. I'm not a boat guy. I'm horrible boat
Yeah.
guy. And but
I'm,
we're looking at
I'm
the right side, and again, this is a pre-production Devilfish. It is a prototype Devilfish because it looks much more like the box art. The missiles are more rearward than the actual toy, along with the foot peg. So that explains why the artwork is the way it is on the front of the box. Just to touch base on this. So on the back of the box, the newest Fast Attack supercharged Devilfish is the Joe's Choice sea vehicle for quick attack on Cobra. It's part of the new Modern Army G.I. Joe collection of vehicles, weapons, figures, and accessories. Use it to help G.I. Joe defend democracy and battle his evil enemy, Cobra. And just to point a couple things out on the box, we have engine mount pivots and rotates. We have removable engine covers. Actual size shown. It floats. I'll talk a little bit about more on that because I do have some experience with the Devilfish in water. Super realistic detail, carries 3 figures, sturdy construction for rugged play, removable missiles and underwater torpedoes, do not shoot. And then finally, detailed blueprints inside explain fully how a real Devilfish would operate. Add them to your G.I. Joe command file. And then the contents contains deck, back panel, hull, 2 engines, interior, 4 missiles, guns, 2 engine covers, 2 torpedoes, engine mount bar, engine link bar, 2 hoses, G.I. Joe folder, label sheet, instructions, and blueprints. That's a mouthful.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty neat because you don't normally get the contents of the box anymore on the outside of the box. And then, do you have how many flag points it was worth? Because my box, it is cut out.
It's 2.
2 flag points. So double than the amount of figures. And seeing as how this retailed for $5, that's roughly twice as much as a figure. So that makes sense. It's following that pattern. Reasonably good deal to redeem for the mail away premiums. And yeah, any thoughts on the back of the box? Or it's just the back of the box?
Yeah, it's just, it looks good. I mean, I think the front of the box is the showstopper. But
yeah, no, I always like the back of the box because it gives you the actual picture. But I also like the fact that it's always a prototype, and you get to see like what changed during the evolution. Next thing to look at is the blueprints. We have 12 points that we can talk about on the Devilfish. And number 1 is the directional engine trim tab. So what it's pointing out to is this little orange piece of plastic that's on the back of the engines, which can be used to steer the engines left and right. And also you can use it to lift the engines up. So if you're pivoting them up in a small boat, it's a neat little piece of plastic, light on detail, but all on function. And I'll just move on to the second thing because it's pretty boring. Epoxy armor reinforced engine covers. And these are molded in gray plastic, and you're supposed to put a little G.I. Joe logo sticker on each of them. And they cover the engine. You can remove them to expose the engine below or inside. They have these neat little vents on the sides and on the top. Neat little sculpting. And then when you remove it, you get a nice little, it looks almost like a very tiny, 4-cylinder outboard motor for the Devilfish. You ever get a outboard boat, Casey?
no.
No.
I can't swim. I stay away from the water.
And then Actually, number 3 actually points to the motor. It's the twin 110 horsepower Assault water jet motors. So again, they're molded in a lighter gray than the engine cover. So you do have a little bit of color contrast, at least on mine. It's very close in color. I wouldn't say they're exactly the same.
Right.
I'll also note that these engines don't have props, and I understand why they don't have props, because it would have been more expensive for the tooling and stuff like that. So it's more like a little bit of a rectangular jet port, like on something similar to like a Sea-Doo or something. And then go to number 4, the automatic engine kick-up system. So I guess it just means it's not locked in place. So when you are playing on the carpet, you can pop a wheelie on the Devilfish as you're dragging it. The engine kick-up system is just a pivot. So it's there to, I think, prevent breakage of anything, because it's meant for rugged play.
Yeah.
Number 5, I'm really happy that they pointed this out. The fuel filler interface. I can't think of a Joe base other than the mobile command center of having a filling station, because this would be perfect for if the transportable tactical battle platform had a filling station. I don't know. Would you use this on a flag? Put it on the deck of the flag and then lower it?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm trying to justify it here. And then we go to 6, the soft shock seat. It is molded in that slightly lighter gray. It has a nice, like, Sea-Doo, vinyl cover texture to it, with a little bit of ridging. And, so it's a seat. And then we get to 7, which is pointing to the side of the hull, a semi-active monopulse guidance system. And it's pointing to essentially what can be best termed as a rod on the right of the Devilfish. So yeah, so it's on the starboard side, the guidance system. Like I said, just looks like a pipe or a rod that goes along under the, like the pilot's, whoever's piloting the Devilfish's right arm. So it doesn't really look too well. It looks almost like it's going into like a turbine or something. I don't know. It's a neat little sculpt. It adds character to it, but I don't see, the guidance system. It doesn't, my imagination doesn't work that way.
It just looks like a joystick.
Yeah, but it's, you can kind of get your character to touch it, but it doesn't really go in his hand,
Yeah, it just kind of lays on top of it.
You can't really grab it. So it's kind of a poor joystick. If it was longer, you could see it breaking. I think instead of this, guidance system joystick type thing, they should have just put like a steering wheel, and they probably could have done a remold from the APC or even the Moray, just to give it like a more boaty feel. Because I know on a boat you have a throttle lever, so then they could have made this like almost like a molded in throttle lever, and then just have them, with the joystick.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll go to number 8, the laser guided Sea Phoenix missiles. And on the blueprints, it's pointing to the 4 missiles on top, and it's also pointing to the 2 torpedoes below. But in the manufacturing world, this would be called double dimensioned, because number 12 points to the torpedoes in another view. So I'm going to say that number 8, the Sea Phoenix missiles, are the 4 on top of the hull. We won't talk about the torpedoes just yet. The torpedoes are molded in a dark gray. There's no stickers on them. They're just, 4 fins. They're not a dog bone connection, which I think is unique. They're just an oval peg connection on the fins, which I actually prefer to the dog bone, only for aesthetics. So it's nice that they didn't use the dog bone for the top of the hull. And then we'll go down to number 9 molded in the same gray with a lot of nice detail. We have the twin 20 millimeter Mark 12 repeater cannons. And these are actually nice. You got any thoughts on this part, Casey?
No, I think they're fantastic. It's always been one of my favorite little accessories to the Devilfish.
Yeah, they're robust. They don't break off. It does have some, nice little molding on top that ties each half together. So it's twin barrel, and it has the barrels come out of like twin cylinders, and the cylinders are tied together with like molded on strapping and like a latching mechanism and some canisters on top, like little tiny, like a pinhead size. Like you said, it's like almost like the center focus of the Devilfish. And it's nice that it doesn't rotate.
Yeah. They do lift up just a little bit, the front. At least mine does. I hope it's not broke.
Well, I think that's just because of the tolerances in putting it together. But it's, but they don't break. That's one thing. All of my Devilfish, my school of Devilfish, all have them. And we'll go to number 10, the hydrodynamically shaped riverine hull. That's pointing out to basically the dark gray hull on the bottom. It's smooth. It's meant for float. It is, shaped with no real, it's not a complete flat bottom. It has essentially 2 cavities for the torpedoes to go in underneath, and it runs the entire length. I would say it's aerodynamic, but it's not aerodynamic. It's, it's molded well for water play.
Yeah.
And we go to number 11, the carbon fiber reinforced stabilizing sponsons. That's essentially the bottom of the hull on the left and right side. I guess the best way to say it would be they're kind of like a molded in pontoon.
G.I. Joe will return after these messages.
According to the Oxford Dictionary, a sponson is a projection on the side of a boat, ship, or seaplane. Examples: a gun platform standing out from a warship's side, or a short subsidiary wing that serves to stabilize a seaplane. So.
Now back to G.I. Joe.
And then finally, number 12, the wire-guided Mark 78 Captor torpedoes, and molded in the same orange as the hull and the engine trim tab. These 2 little torpedoes that sit on the bottom on dog bones. And they get a neat little sticker on them too, enabling them the 61155 MC30T, whatever that means. It's probably somebody's initials or something.
Probably. I mean, one of my biggest takeaways from the Devilfish is there's so many stickers on it. It's a small little boat. And whoever put these stickers on my Devilfish did a fantastic job.
Yeah, that's always fun to get good sticker placement. I got with the box an unused sticker sheet.
Nice.
So it actually comes out. And I'm glad you brought up the stickers, because in the same vein of the whale, where the whale had that, the orca on the side of it, the Devilfish has its logo, which is basically, it looks like a devil merman throwing a lightning bolt. You have the devil tail coming out of the back where the behind would be on a person. But then instead of legs, he has the merman fit, the merman tail. He's got the little horns. If you look really closely, I don't know how good your sticker is, but he's got little horns on it. And he has a little anchor. There's a little anchor over it, and it has Devilfish on the side. I have to say that the Devilfish logo is truly inspired.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
The other thing, too, is about all these decals on this one is they're very tasteful. They're of a size where, and of the placement, they don't go over like seams or whatever on the boat, because sometimes they get so big and you'll have like a panel with like a little ridge, and then when you pick these up 40 years later, there's dirt underneath. I really like the stickers overall on the boat. There's other things too to talk about that aren't in the blueprints. Is so behind the missals on the hull, you have these little vents that are cut out on the port and starboard side. They're not like super detailed, that they're like louvered, but it adds like a nice little texture to it, although they really serve no true purpose.
Looks good though.
Yeah, no, it does. It looks really cool. And then the other thing, so by the pilot's head, whoever's, boating, it looks almost like, like tiny spotlights or locks or something like right behind the head. Yep. And, it's just a nice, interesting detail that doesn't do anything. They don't explain it, but it's a good detail for the boat. You have your cleats on the front of the boat, which are molded in, for tying it to dock. And then on the back, on a little piece of orange plastic, you have these two little pegs, which have two tiny, not even, I would say maybe an inch long hoses. If they're an inch, I'd be stretching it. And they go to other pegs, and it's almost like little fuel lines that come out of the back, and it goes in. The hinge is hollow, has two hollow spots, so the motors go up and down around those two hoses. It just shows how, for essentially a $5 toy, how well thought out it is.
I mean, for a $5 toy, there's so much playability to it.
My favorite thing to do with boats is now that I'm an adult, like when I was a kid, I only had the Moray. I mean, that's a heck of a boat to have as a kid. But the thing is, I never took my boats into the bathtub. We had a pool, but I never put my boat in a pool. But now that I'm adult, I have a stream in my backyard. I love taking these out into the stream. And you know what the good thing is? You can test how well they float.
Yeah.
And those vents on the top of the hull, they let in so much water.
Oh, yeah.
Any little bit of splashing, and then it just goes glub, 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 glub down below. The other thing, too, is, if you load this up with 3 figures, at least in a stream, it doesn't float well.
It doesn't seem safe for 3 figures.
At that point, it's a carpet toy. It doesn't have wheels. I don't like dragging them across, dirt and grass or hard wood.
Yeah.
But, every house in the 80s was carpeted.
Oh, yeah.
But I can see it as a carpet toy. I can see it as a bath toy. What do you think? What would you be, a bath kid or a?
I probably would have played with it on a carpet. But the only boat I had as a kid was the Whale.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
That is definitely like the Moray, that's a special toy.
Yeah. You can't go wrong with either one of them.
No. But if I had the Devilfish as a kid, I would have liked it.
Oh, yeah.
Because for me, I know you're a couple years older than me, but I was really into that 1986 series of the cartoon where they used the Devilfish a lot. I would have totally gotten, Fast Attack, thrown all my guys into this to boat around. So going boating, who do you have pilot your Devilfish in play or on display?
I always have a wetsuit. I don't know if it's because of the cover from the number 47. I just always see him I always picture him with the Devilfish. Maybe it's because he's got the orange on his suit and the orange on the Devilfish. He's my guy.
You know, you can't go wrong with the two characters on the box. You can't go wrong with Beachhead. You can't go wrong with Wetsuit. I would dare say Leatherneck is also appropriate as a Marine. You know, you got Shipwreck, you know, then you can go outside of the 85, 86 years, you know, Torpedo, Topside.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and this is bright orange. And you know what bright orange makes me think of? A certain branch of the military, the Coast Guard.
Oh, yeah.
And now you got Cutter. Yeah.
Would you put Tracker in there?
The Tracker would work.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can put his visor on him, and the great thing would be is if somebody sinks the Devilfish, he could just blow up. You could blow up his his little what is it? It's not a tube. It's a raft. Yeah. So yeah, and his accessories are orange.
Yeah. That is a character that needs a remake, I think.
Yeah, he's got funny sneakers.
Oh yeah.
But
they're like Navy SEAL. I don't think Navy SEALs look like that, but all right.
Well, I mean, we're still on the on that, you know, Shipwreck version 2, the diver version of Shipwreck, or you can even do the action diver from 94.
Yeah.
Because he was in black and orange.
What about version 2 of Deep Six?
Yeah, yeah, that's a good one too.
Yeah.
Not version 1 of Deep Six.
Oh.
But yeah, there's a lot of, you know, aquatic Joes. I don't think there's an aquatic Joe that really doesn't work with this.
Mm-mm.
I know Gung Ho's a Marine.
Yeah.
Green and orange, they kind of clash.
Yeah.
But
especially his green.
It's teal.
More of a blue, or I don't know.
You know, like the cover of 47, you know, you got Hawk. And really, you know, this is one of those G.I. Joe vehicles where it's like, you know, anybody can go in and pilot it. You know, everybody is qualified for the Devilfish.
Like the Sky Striker.
Yeah, kind of like the Sky Striker, but, you know, like green shirts, you know, this could be, they could swarm, you know, a Cobra installation, or swarm to protect like a transportable tactical battle platform. You know, they work good with a flag.
Oh, yeah. I do like that these, for the most part, are still really affordable. I mean, if you wanted to build up a little fleet of these, it's not that bad. I think I got mine at Joe Fest 3 years ago for $10, and it looks great.
Yeah, I think like a complete one right now is somewhere in the 30 to 40 range.
Still not bad.
No, not bad. The big thing to watch out for, now we're talking about, you know, things to look out for in the collection. I really think the plastic, especially the orange plastic, of my fleet, the plastic seems to get brittle with age. I have foot pegs that were broken off. I have missile stanchions that are broken off. The little pegs that have the hoses broken off.
Oh no.
Yeah, so you know, I think the orange plastic got brittle. I think that's more of a, you know, kids playing with it in their pool. I think the chlorine might have had something to do with it.
And you got to wonder if those pegs are in some unfortunate Joe's foot still.
Oh yeah, you know that. It's a well-loved Joe, and that's what's important. Then the other thing is, so the missiles are easily lost. The torpedoes can be easily lost, but you know, those were reissued in that vehicle accessory pack in 87. So you can get them in off colors to change your arsenal. And then, the other thing is like the engine covers come off easy. So it really is. There's a lot of little parts on this thing that fall off. But, like we said earlier, all of mine have the machine guns on the top of the hull. The motors tend to always stay on. So it's these can be very cheap and complete, but the parts aren't that expensive either.
Right. Like I said, I needed one more missile. Maybe that's why I got it for $10. But I'll find it now that I know I need it.
Yeah. It's like you said, it's a very affordable. I think the size lends well to a multitude of collections.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want to just have small vehicles with a huge figure display, this fits in for that. If you have a larger area to display your Joe stuff, then you can have like 5 or 6 of these and not, and put them in, find them and put them in little nooks and crannies. It's very versatile, depending on the way you collect. I think the design lends well for the entire G.I. Joe line. We were discussing, we basically named every aquatic guy from 83 to 94.
Right. Yeah.
And really, with rare exception, there's not really a Joe that doesn't go in this. So I think the collectability on this thing is high. While it only had really, like I said, one notable appearance for me in the comic, the cartoon, that sold a heck of a lot of toys in 85, 86.
Yeah. I think it's a fantastic little boat.
And the other thing about this fantastic little boat is it was reissued in 1988 as the Tigerfish for Tiger Force. And it came in the Tiger Force pattern, and it's not all too gaudy with all the red and yellow and black and brown and beige. Other than the fact that they simplified the colors a little bit, they made the motors black instead of gray, and then all the accents are orange or red. It's another fine addition to the collection.
Yeah, if I had one knock on that, it would be all the red, but that's just me.
Yeah, that is, but that's what makes collecting great. What tickles my fancy isn't always what tickles somebody else's, and vice versa. You have any other thoughts on the Devilfish?
No, other than I probably need a couple more, so I can start putting my seals in all these.
Have a little support crew for the flag as it leaves port. Yeah. These work great for like if you had, let's say the flag's out in the open ocean, and it launches these, like launching a shark or whatever, this could be part of its, flotilla, the fleet, okay, we're under attack, launch, they're fast attack vehicles. They pair very well with the transportable tactical battle platform.
Yep.
So they fit nicely in that little chute in the center. And, you can just leave one docked up to the transportable tactical battle platform. And then the other thing too is, its adversaries on the Cobra side. Obviously, I would say the Moray is like the gunship of the Cobras, right? But, Copperhead and his water moccasin would be a good matchup for the Devilfish. And the Cobra Piranha would be another adversary for the Devilfish.
Always forget that one too.
Yeah, the Piranha is very underrated. I'm really surprised that didn't get reissued as a Python Patrol, later on and during the middle years and during the, modern era. But the Devilfish really didn't get too much re-releases either.
Didn't need it. It was good the way it was.
That's it. Yeah, that's it. 1986 and 1988. That was it for the Devilfish. And I think that's a shame. I think this is a great little boat. It deserved more releases.
I am surprised they didn't when they were doing the 25th and 50th. I'm surprised they did not do a re-release of it then for the 4-inch Joes.
Usually when that means something happened to the mold after it went to Brazil. That's where all the molds went to. I think it's Australia and Brazil. I'm really weak on my international stuff. It's an awesome boat. You can play with it like as a swarm. It's a support, it's at its size, it's really a close support, reconnaissance or fast attack craft. So this isn't like, something that launches out of port and goes across the ocean, but it's something that, you keep on the flag for something like that. Or, like I said, it's moored to the transportable tactical battle platform. And, and it goes back to shore, it's like it's shipwrecks shore leave boat. It has a lot of, play value for it. It can be a river boat, ocean boat. Well, I think I've covered everything I can think of on the Devilfish. How about you?
Yeah, I think so. Like I said, one of my favorite vehicles. It reminds me of, because of it holds, I say one person. I don't think putting 2 Joes on the side of it's a great idea, but I always like the armadillo. So it reminds me of a water armadillo.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
So, all right. We are going to grade this on a scale of 0 to 5 laser guided Sea Phoenix missiles. So, Casey, I'll let you go first. It's your first time doing a vehicle review here on the Chaplain System Motorpod. How many missiles would you give this out of 5, quarter scale, optional?
I would give it a solid 4.
Okay. And I'm going to go higher than you. I'm going to say this is like a 4.5 out of 5 Sea Phoenix missiles. I think this belongs in just about every G.I. Joe collection. I think every collector of G.I. Joe can make a little room to put this with their figures.
And that's another great thing about it. It doesn't take up a lot of space. And when you're collecting for a long time, space is an issue.
So that wraps up this missile for the masses. This has been the Chaplains and Sisters Motorpod, hosted by Spotify. You can find this on a multitude of the most popular podcasting platforms. And while you're there, leave a review, rate it, share it with your friends. It only helps to grow and improve this podcast. For more Chaplains and Sisters Motorpod, you can find us on social media at Chaplain Joe Pod on Facebook, X, and Instagram, and also sometimes on other social media platforms as well. And also you could email us at chaplainjoepod@gmail.com. And Casey, do you want to give out your info in case somebody wants to get in touch with you and how wrong you got the the Devilfish?
Podcastfromthepit@gmail.com. You can check us out on YouTube. We have started putting our backlog of episodes up on podcast too, so you can check us out there if you'd rather just listen. But we have Facebook group Podcast from the Pit. We do a little bit on X, and our Instagram is Podcast from the Pit. Reach out if you want to talk toys. Love talking G.I. Joe
and Motu.
A little Motu.
And just one last thing, the Chaplain System Motorpod is the strange but not estranged nerdy little brother of The Pint, a pop culture podcast. And with all of that out of the way, one final missile for the masses: be decent to each other. Have a good night.
Take care, everybody.